Hey everyone. So in this episode, I've got Dari the designer with me, and we're going to hear about what she does. And we discussed prior to this episode how AI fits in with what she's doing, and also a little bit about making connections with people when you're an introvert, which is good range of things, and I'm always like really keen and interested to hear what people have to say because I know that I'm sure a lot of us can relate to some of these things. Yeah, so welcome.
Thank you. Hi, thank you for having me.
So why don't we start off with you telling us about what you do and why?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So I'm an illustrator primarily. That's my thing at the moment. I focus specifically on books, children's books and adult books, young adult books, and live event illustration. I started off with book illustration, and that was kind of this is all very new, so it's maybe in the past like year or so that I've been planning and trying to build this, and that's kind of what I started off with. Honestly, I would be happy doing any kind of illustration. I'm actually doing a mural later on today, so it's all very. It feels random, but it's all stuff that I absolutely love. And then the live events illustration came a little bit afterwards because I didn't know what it was until I stumbled across it online. And I'm very excited about it because it feels like two ends of the spectrum, the books and the even the murals and the live event illustration, because live events, if no one knows, it can also it has a lot of different names. It's graphic recording, graphic scribing, and I go to an event and I would illustrate live in real time what's being said at events where they have speakers and things like that. I'm actually doing an event later on at the start of next month where it's a little bit different to that as well. It's not necessarily surrounding one speaker, it's surrounding like the whole event. And I'm going to be illustrating what's happening at the event. So that's really exciting. Um, but yeah, it's just very, very visual mind mapping. It's something that you could take away from the event. It's a really cool digital thing for people to take away so they can have something to remember and associate to what was being said. But the thing that I love the most about it is that it increases accessibility to people who there are so many people who are visual learners. I think it was like over 60% or something like that of people are visual learners. So for people to be like sitting and listening to a speaker, it won't always go in the way that people want it to go in. So if you have something like sometimes for live events, they will have the illustrator like their screen shared.
Mm.
Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but it's just a nice kind of addition for people to help follow along what's being said and associate it, and it helps retain the information. So anyway,
Mhm.
um, that's the live event illustration. And I was saying that they're both two ends of the spectrum because book illustration is just me in on my own kind of taking a really long time deliberating and nurturing the idea that I have or the world that the author's created. And I love that so much because you can just really sit with the idea that you have, the themes that you're trying to play with. Whereas the live events is very in the moment, quick. You have to be very on the spot with your thinking. Um, and both, I feel like, develop my skills in different ways. So I feel like it's just a really nice way to learn both of them. So yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah, that's cool. It sounds like doing different types of exercise.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really cool. And you got me thinking about how I once went to graphic design school and there was a lot of emphasis on getting things done to like within a certain time frame, and you'd either have to like stay up late or sacrifice what you think is like really beautiful or good quality. So what I gathered from what you're saying about the illustration side of things, the book illustration, is that you get to take your time a bit. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, you do you. It depends on the client in terms of what kind of deadlines you have. So I'm sure in that sense there'll be some. I'm lucky enough to work on a project right now where there's no specific deadline, so I can kind of take my time with it a little bit.
Hmm.
There will be moments where that won't be the case, but it's still kind of something that you, even if it's just like a day of deliberating and planning, like doing the page layout and things like that, it still gives you time to be as like out of the box thinking as you can, because I really, really love the magical, fantastical side of things and making things really surreal and kind of Ghibli, Disney-esque.
Yeah.
And I love that so much that I'll need time to think of that kind of thing. Whereas the live events is literally on the spot. You don't have time to think at all. So it's
Mm.
kind of a very stark difference, even if you do have a deadline.
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. I think if I was an illustrator, I think I would enjoy more sort of getting things to come out of my head and onto the paper, um, as opposed to maybe telling a computer what I want. But we'll get to AI in a minute, but I also just wanted to yeah, just understand a little bit more about the live event illustration. So is this like a thing that's emerging right now, or has it always been? And yeah,
I don't know. I think it's been around for a very, very long time. I
yeah.
can't remember the year that it started or the year that it was, I don't know, maybe acknowledged, but it's been around for a very long time, but I had never seen it until maybe earlier this year.
Mm,
Um, and I started following a couple of people, and it was hard to find, but there were a couple of people on YouTube as well that were kind of giving small tutorials of like little tips on how to be better at graphic recording. And
yeah.
as soon as I came, completely stumbled across it, never heard of it in my life beforehand. But then I was thinking, oh my God, of course this exists. That makes so much sense, but also is so fun. And how fun would that be to have as a career?
Hmm.
That's very much for me the true definition of the whole you like your work, you never work a day in your life kind of
Yeah.
mentality. So yeah, I completely stumbled across it. I think it has been here for a very long time.
Yeah. That's cool. I hope I get to see it in action at some point because you mentioned the anxiety, I'm sorry, the accessibility thing, what I was going to
Yeah.
say. Anxiety and like neurodivergence and things like that. You sort of feel like when you're listening to a speaker at an event, like it's expected of you to look at their face the whole time while they're speaking, and that just may not sit right with some people, whereas an illustration, yeah, you might be more comfortable with that. And also from an accessibility point, you might be able to digest that information more clearly by seeing it sort of come to life, as the person is speaking. Am I on the right track there?
Absolutely, yeah, exactly. And you said it, you explained it a lot better than I did because it. I think obviously there's a lot of other people who struggle with eye contact a lot more than I do. I think
Hmm.
I don't like it though. I'm not very good with eye contact. It's something that I kind of I try to do, but then I can only do for like a few seconds at a time, and then I have to look
Yeah.
away again.
Yeah.
Um, and that makes so much sense to what you said that like you kind of need something to focus on, and it's not always
Hmm.
comfortable to focus on someone if they're like looking straight at you, or if you're just looking at one person. Sometimes you kind of need a little bit more like visual cues for that sense, as well as the fact that you can it helps with the retaining your the information. um yeah, I think in that sense it makes it a lot more comfortable as well. It's like doing things with your hands. Like I feel like I need to be doing something with my hands, and like having something to hold or something like that. I think it's a similar sensation for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. Yeah. I went to a conference last year and the person running it was like openly neurodivergent themselves, and they're like, hey, like we get that everyone's brain is different. If you don't want to look at the speaker, that's fine. If you want to do some knitting while the speaker's giving their presentation, that's cool. Just do it your way. Listen the way that you listen.
Mm. I love that. And actively saying it out loud as well,
Mm.
saying that like, hey, by the way, this is completely normal, completely okay for you to do. Because I think there's kind of this unspoken rule that you have to do it a certain way and mask in public rather than just being yourself and doing what feels comfortable. And I like that.
Yeah. And like, for example, this podcast that I'm doing it, like I'm recording a video, but when I listen to other people's, I don't watch the video. I listen to it, like even if it is in video format. So I'm kind of just doing this in mind that people are going to be receiving this in whatever way feels right to
Mm.
them. So yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So yeah, so I touched on AI, and before we did all this, I reached out on Threads to see if anyone would be interested in speaking about AI and if you're a graphic designer and if it's affecting you in some way. So I thought, yeah, maybe it would be best if you explained your view on it, Dari, and whether it's affecting you or not.
Yeah, sure. It's interesting. I mean, I never like to say that I know a lot about AI or anything. I don't like to presume that I know everything there is to know or anything. I think I guess I can only speak on my experience, but it's it's a tricky thing because in each person they're going to have a different experience and therefore it's going to show in a different way and then I'm going to interpret it in a different way. I've been seeing a lot of people, a lot of business owners, like self-employed people, but bigger businesses as well, use AI a lot, as I'm sure everyone else has. Um, and they use it a lot, but there's a lot of people who don't know enough about it in that they think it's absolutely fine. They don't realize the impact it's having, the negative impact it's having, and
Mhm.
therefore they continue to use it. Then there's a lot of other people who know that and still choose to use it just because it's convenient for them or it's filling a need in their business that means that, they're filling that need for free.
Mhm.
Um, and I understand the convenience element. I understand that it could be life changing for people who have a gap that they don't think like, if it's helping with social content planning or whatever. I understand if you're not good at that kind of thing, that it would help with that. I just can't really look past the negative impacts on it. Um,
Mm.
Particularly because yes, it would and probably maybe has already impacted me. Maybe it has stolen from me, and that doesn't sit right with me. Obviously, there's a really big environmental impact as well. Yeah, it doesn't sit right with me. I don't like to write someone off just because they use it. I can't help but judging them a little bit though,
Yeah.
but I try to just remember that they might not know. Like there's actually been a few people that I know personally, people who are friends that have used it. And then I'm like, hey, did you know like the like it could be stealing from me right now. It could have stolen ideas that I've had or art that I've put up on social media or something. It could have already done that. And if you add the personal element of like, oh, it's someone that I know that it could have done that to, um, I feel like, yeah, I've thankfully my friends have just been like, oh, I had no idea. I'm so sorry.
Mm.
Especially, when it's being used in a making designs kind of way. Um, I see a lot of authors actually using AI for the design aspect, like doing the illustrations or the book covers, but also for the writing, which I was really surprised to hear.
Yeah.
Um, and I know that steals from other authors as well. Um, and the fact that no one's consented to it just really rubs me up the wrong way, as I'm sure it does a lot of people. Um, I think it's I don't know if I'm allowed to swear. So it's a really crappy situation to be in, and
Mm.
it's not great, but not great at all. It's a horrible thing to be taking from creative people. Um, but I do find it's quite heartwarming as well, because you see all the people going against it, and I actually really like seeing that because
Mm.
um, like say for the authors again, there's a lot of people in the literary community, others as well, but it's just really nice to see people in the same jobs saying, hey, uh, I don't condone that. And actively avoiding even working with them as well, saying that, hey, by the way, like they say it, on threads, whether you can add the community, they just post on there saying, hey, by the way, this person uses AI for this, this, and this. So stay clear if you don't want to work with this person. And I find
Hmm.
that really lovely that people are banding together to tell people to say that this person isn't what they say they are because they're, marketing themselves as this one thing, but then kind of cheating
Mm.
um, from other creatives. So in that sense, I think it's quite nice to be able to see people band together in that way. Um, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I noticed that it's created quite a division. Um, so on Threads, because I'm interested in AI, and I just happen to see a lot of authors now taking a stand against it. And nobody likes being called out, and nobody likes being told that they're wrong or that they're doing something harmful. But at the end of the day, like I agree, I think it's good that people are taking a stand and like as a consumer, I often love books for the illustration, and if I knew that the book was illustrated with AI, I probably like would disregard it
Mm.
because
Yeah,
I appreciate what goes into it and the heart and soul that the illustrator put into it.
exactly. Yeah, it takes away the human element of it, and it's such a big part that I think isn't given the due, the recognition that it deserves because it's it's just such an easy thing to fit into a few words, human connection, but then it's so important. It's such a big thing when you think about it. The amount of, I think when you're not maybe part of the industry or maybe you're not creative minded, I think a lot of it can go either way, but there are a lot of people who see such value in it because they can't do it.
Mm,
But then there are a lot of people who, because they don't think that way, they don't think that there goes mu like much goes into it. They're like, oh, I'll take 5 minutes or whatever. I've heard that so many times in the design industry. It's insane. I'm sure you have too.
yeah.
Um, and I think again, it can go either way inside the community as well, where like people understand what goes into it, so therefore there's so much value in it. But it can go the other way in that there's a lot of people who can do the same thing maybe quicker, or they think that they know best when it's such a subjective thing.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know. There's going to be a lot of different people in every single walk of life, right? So I guess you'll find every bit of it, but yeah, I think there's always going to be something that comes along that's going to threaten creativity or threaten certain things.
Mm,
But I think we've survived in the past, so I think we'll survive again. I think people always come back to, oh yeah, human connection is pretty great. Um, and then we just work with the people that we want to work with.
yeah. People are saying, oh, it's here to stay and it's going to make certain art forms obsolete even. And I don't think so. I mean, if you want a portrait, you can get a photographer, but people are still getting traditional art portraits. And I mean, like, go
Mm.
to any sort of gaming convention or fan convention, people will get hand-drawn illustrations of their OC, their original character or their D&D character or whatever.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
I see people treasure those things.
exactly. Yeah. That's why I feel like it'll always come back to human connection. And yes, AI is probably going to be here forever now. Maybe it'll never leave. Maybe it'll shift and evolve and whatever. And the people in power, the people who won't uh, be affected negatively about this. Maybe they'll want it to stay forever, and it's not something we can control. But at the end of the day, human connection and the seeing people draw your character or um, take the time and seeing them take the time cultivating something, making something from scratch. I think that's always going to be valuable, and it's always going to be something that at least people like us are going to value, and maybe that's enough. And also, plus, there are a lot of people who don't know how to write a prompt. They can't even tell you what they want as a client, so I don't think that they're gonna. I'm worried.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Mm.
I'm so glad that we're on the same page about this.
Me too, I can speak freely.
Yeah. Oh, such a relief. Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about actually finding clients because you've told me that like one thing that's been on your mind is like, how do I get out being an introvert? So yeah, tell me about that and how you're tackling that challenge.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, it's like a daily thing that I have to remind myself of. Even doing this mural later on today. It's my first one ever. But just the fact that I have to leave the house, honestly, sometimes it's like, okay, I need to like mentally prepare myself, like be socially like ready. Um, and sometimes it's absolutely fine. Sometimes I'm like really excited for it. And weirdly, when it gets later at night, I don't know what it is. I've not researched it. So um, maybe I'm sure there's a word for it or whatever, but the later it gets at night, the more vulnerable it feels, the scarier things feel. It
Mm,
kind of like a Sunday scaries kind of feeling. So I definitely have to like choose moments to think about those things, to think about the type of work I want to be doing and the planning for the rest of the week and things like that. Um, the later it gets, I need to have that boundary for myself. Um,
yeah.
But I think, yeah, I think everyone's going to have their own way of working, and when it comes to trying to get clients and networking, um, you, I, not that I'm some expert that I've got all the riches in the world to prove it, but I really believe that you don't have to do it one way in order for it to work. It's um the extrovert's way of marketing isn't the only way of doing that kind of thing. And um, I think after COVID, things all went online, obviously, and all of the networking went online. And that really helped me. But lately, I live in Liverpool in England, and it's been, uh, I can't even put into words how life-changing it's been to be able to network here. Um, just to like go out in person and to how to go
Mm,
to these events and to talk to people openly and freely and have like events specifically for creatives to network together. So it's not like in this stuffy corporate kind of way. And that's been really helping getting me out of my shell a little bit. And then I kind of get used to having my spiel and I can, have a script that I can shift whenever I want to. And like the more I say it, the more comfortable I am like paraphrasing and things like that.
mm,
So yeah, I think uh just it as scary as it sounds, just doing it is really like putting yourself in a situation and maybe just going to the deep end.
mm,
You'll flow, you will always will float, you'll find a way through it. And even if you crash and burn, you'll have something to learn from the next time you do it. Um, So I found for me that's really been helpful because I'm the sort of person that like sometimes, yeah, easing into it is really helpful, but sometimes I just need to push myself, otherwise I just won't do it and I'll stay in my comfort zone. Um, and for like online networking and in person, I guess mainly online for I've been using LinkedIn quite a lot and I use LinkedIn and Instagram mostly, and then these days I've been using Threads a little bit, and that's I guess how we
mm.
met.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's been really great. I think you just need to find maybe where your clients are and then stick to that for a while. Because if you go to all of the platforms and try and be present in on all of them, it's
Mhm,
incredibly overwhelming. And it might be like a jack of all trades thing as well. Maybe it won't be, but uh, you might not be able to give your all to each one anyway. So I would focus on one and that's it. And just think, so say for I guess I've got two strands of my business. So my clients will come from different places, but
mm,
for books, I can go to either LinkedIn or Instagram. Um, and then for live events, it will be mainly LinkedIn. So whenever I'm looking for people to connect with, I'd just go to LinkedIn and just start typing in names and job roles and things like that and start connecting with them.
mm.
Um, And it's not my favorite way of doing things, but sometimes it works. And so sometimes it's an exercise in putting yourself out there and nothing more. Maybe nothing else will come of it. Um, but yeah, it just kind of at least puts yourself out there for a bit. Um, yeah, I don't know if I answered your question properly, but that's what I would do.
Yeah. I think the key takeaway from that is the important thing is to try and not do nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
And sometimes, yeah, it takes a bit of trial and error to find the platform that works best for you
Mm.
or the
Yeah,
elevator pitch that works best for you.
yeah, exactly. And momentum is so important because once I like get into my comforts a little bit more and I'm maybe or maybe I'm just focusing on other things, maybe not so much networking for a couple of days and I'm just working on my own stuff, then it takes a second to get back into it again and get into the it's like a different hat they have to wear whenever you go to like these events and stuff and saying,
Hmm.
similar things but not too similar. So then it sounds like a script and all of that stuff.
Yeah, it's fine though. Like at the end of the day, like we're all people, and I'm of the belief that people want to work with and do business with other people, which is a bit unfortunate because a lot of people are turning to AI to do stuff for them. So I don't know if that's going to change and that people are going to be more, I guess, into getting AI to do stuff for them. I'm not really. Yeah, I prefer when humans do stuff and get paid money so they can live because we still need money.
Yeah, it's always ideal, to be able to afford groceries and all that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
Uh,
if we had some kind of universal basic income, then by all means do whatever you want with technology. As long as you don't mess up the planet too much, I guess.
Mhm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think we're in a world where and that's another thing. I think that a lot of creatives feel bad for charging money for creative stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the case in a lot of different, maybe in caregiver settings as well. Like, people are made to feel guilty for charging even living wage sometimes, like
Mm.
the bare minimum. Um, and we all the world has been created with like and I don't know how long capitalism's been around, but it's been around for a very long time. And since then, we all have to make money in order to survive. So it's
Mm.
like a rewiring of the brain to say, no, I do deserve to actually charge money for it. And I do deserve to live off of my creativity as well. It's something that is and should
Mhm.
be valued. Um, and so yeah, we should be charging money. And I'm willing
Mhm.
to be that we should be charging more than living wage as well. Like we
Yeah.
absolutely should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
I feel like we could have another discussion all around pricing.
Oh my God, yeah. And I still don't know if I have the answer. I'm just kind of shot in the dark, seeing what works right now and what feels comfortable for me to say. As long as I can confidently say it, I think
Yeah.
that's a win for me.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Look, yeah, you're not alone there. Like everyone, when they present themselves in public or on the internet, like they're not showing the behind the scenes. Most people have no idea what to charge for what they're doing, so it's fine.
That's a great comfort of mine just in day-to-day life that no one actually knows what they're doing. I don't think even one person in the whole world knows what they're doing 100% of the time. Um, and like when you were younger, you always thought like, oh, adults have it together and everything. No, we don't. We do not. None of us have it together, and that's okay. And that's
Yep.
actually a really beautiful thing of life that we're all just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, yep.
Hmm.
People can get really good at putting on a brave face and showing confidence.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Mhm.
Sweet. Well, this has been such a good conversation. I'm unfortunately going to have to wrap this up because we're at our time limit, but at our time limit, blah. Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, but it's
Thank you
been
so
lovely
much for having
talking.
me. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you so much. This has been so fun.
Yeah, so if anyone wants to chat to you about anything that we chatted about in this episode, how can they do that?
Yeah, so I mean, I've got my website and Instagram I'm probably more present on. My email is on my website as well. My
Mhm.
website is darythedesigner.com. My email is darythedesigner@gmail.com. And then I've got my Instagram as well, which is Dari the Designer as well, but just hyphens in between the words. Sorry, underscores underneath the words. And yeah, I guess that will be that's everywhere you can contact me. So yeah, feel free. I'd love to chat to people about illustration and see if there's anything that I can be a part of.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.